The Japanese Grand Prix is one of the best Grand Prix in the Formula 1 season, and in this exciting, action-packed 2025 season, there are quite a few fantastic storylines to follow. From a looming war between teammates at McLaren, to more blunders at Ferrari, to soap-like drama at Red Bull. This Grand Prix in the beautiful Susuka will have it all. As a decade-long F1 fan, I've been following all the news closely, and this makes me even more excited. What about you? Are you ready? I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. Let's start off this list of 5 with the championship battles. So far McLaren has been dominant with 2 wins. However, the wins have been shared by both drivers in the Papaya team. Lando Norris secured his 5th career win in a race he started from pole in Australia. And credit where credit is due, his old problems like bad starts and not being decisive in strategy didn't pop up again. Even with the pressure of his teammate Oscar Piastri and old frenemy Max Verstappen. Can Norris do it again in Japan? Or will it be Australian teammate Oscar Piastri who was the big winner of the China weekend in Shanghai? Oscar scored 33 points out of the 34 available. He also seemed to have cured some of his previous weaknesses, like qualifying and race pace. Will the race weekend in Japan be the first blow to either one's title hopes? Will Oscar Piastri show some daring moves again, like last year in Monza? With McLaren as the dominant team, me as a completely neutral fan, I'm hoping for some Mercedes-like inter-team battle, just like in the Silver War days. It's good for the sport, it's good for content, and good for Verstappen. I have no sympathy for Zak Brown or Andrea Stella, who will have to deal with the aftermath. They chose 2 almost equal drivers. They are proud of it too. They made their bed and they can burn it. Or wait, never mind. Story 4 is about a sneaky snitch. A tall, smooth show pony who's hiding in plain sight and has scored 2 podiums by just driving fast and finishing. I'm of course talking about George William Russell. You didn't know his middle name was William, did ya? I'm gonna call him Willie from now on.
Hey Willie!
So Willie is the leader of the Mercedes team now that he's finally rid of Lewis Hamilton. He only had to beat him for 3 seasons and then he left for Ferrari. Now the man from Norfolk is a very responsible guy who is the leading man in the Drivers Association and in the stewards room. So it's a good place for youngster Kimi Andrea Antonelli to be. And so far, Willie has been quicker than his teenage teammate. And I think that works well for him. The W16 seems to be a much better car than the W15 and the W14. And it's definitely better than the W13. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in Japan. Especially with his qualifying skills and the 2 McLaren drivers most likely fighting each other up front. There are possibilities for another big haul of points, and that would definitely free Willie. So looking forward to seeing what he can do, not looking forward to him showing off after the race. That always makes me a little sick. Before I tell you about story 3, I want to do what every content creator does and beg for you to like and subscribe. Also, I have memberships open for people who want to support my channel. And as a reward, you get earlier access and extra content. And your name will be on the end screen. That's also an amazing perk. So, story 3 is about Scuderia Ferrari. We are 2 races in the season and we've seen plenty of Ferrari drama already. Leclerc had a car full of water, and it was caused by the water. Hamilton and his engineer had a hissy fit about the K1 button. In China, Lewis Hamilton won the sprint, and he made everyone at Sky Sports F1 nut all over the place. And the next day, after setup changes for Hamilton, the pace was gone, and he wore off his plank again. So he got disqualified. And Charles Leclerc also got kicked out of the standings because his car was too light. Some season, huh? Dude, it's only the 2nd race. And then to look back at all the hype before Lewis Hamilton joined Ferrari. The symbolism people saw in the 7 windows and the door representing his 8th title. With the Massa court case coming up, he's closer to 6 titles. I'm expecting some lovely comments here now. So many pundits drooling over the prospect and praising Fred Vasseur and what he's doing with Ferrari. Yeah, Hamilton joined Ferrari at exactly the right time. No he didn't. Fuck all has changed. The Ferrari package has plenty of issues, and that might be Hamilton's saving grace, as Leclerc is at a loss at times too. I'm sure that if the SF25 gets some improvements, the Prince of Monaco will run circles around him. In the meantime, we can expect some comedy from the Ferrari team. Can't wait. How will Max Verstappen fare this race? He loves Japan, and there might be rain. However, the RB21 isn't the new and improved version of the blasted RB20 we hoped it would be. Some of the bad traits have been fixed. But if it works, and that's a big if, it's still too slow even for Max Verstappen. I reckon we'll see another race where Max maximizes and will try to stay in touching distance of the faster cars. Like I said, rain would help him a bit, but then again, in a bad car with a complex small setup window, chances are he'll struggle in the wet too. It will be like this for more races until the upgrades come in Imola. If they work, then we'll see him winning again. If not, then an awful lot can happen this season. But that's all stuff for another video. We know Verstappen will get the most out of things, and with some shenanigans up front, we can see him staying close in the standings. And that's what we want. It's clear I'm not predicting a Verstappen win or even a podium. Ideally, we'd see a Ferrari win and Verstappen 1 place behind Norris. That would be amazing for the title battle. Let 6 of them gladiators fight it out. The biggest story this weekend will be the Tsunoda-Lawson story. Those two swapped seats. Lawson is at Racing Bulls now to recover from the 2 awful races he had for the main team, and Tsunoda can try his luck after being in the sister team for 4 full seasons. I noticed Liam Lawson has been pegged down a bit. He was all talk and attitude. He was already a bit quieter after testing, and after the Australian and Chinese Grand Prix, he crawled away with his tail tucked between his legs. Now, it might sound like I'm picking on him here, but I'm not. I'm 47, and I've started many projects in my business with more courage than brains and failed. I nearly bankrupted us once. So taking a step back and getting time to rebuild again is a good thing. He's only 23. I think he learned a valuable lesson here. Now, someone else who should have learned from what happened to Liam Lawson is Yuki Tsunoda. But I don't think he did. In the interviews I'm reading, he's talking about getting the podium in his home race, and on the sim, the car didn't seem to be that hard to drive. These kids never learn. I think he's falling into the same trap as Lawson, being overconfident, and it's mostly enthusiasm as well. He's pumped to get some good results in, and I think that's great, but don't say this stuff out loud. He's lucky not to have as many haters as Liam Lawson had, but I can still imagine the pictures of Tsunoda on the wall with a text saying, "The car isn't that bad to drive." He's setting himself up here by talking too much. Do you know how I know this? Because I was the same. I hope he proves me wrong. I'd be the first one to admit he was right to be cocky. I hope Lawson gets a killer result too. I feel for the bloke. And for the rest, I'll be enjoying the practice sessions with a mug full of hot coffee at the crack of dawn. I love it. Quiet house, the cats around my feet, and the noise of cars going vroom vroom. Have a great race everyone. Take care now. Doei doei.